Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Today's Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. Coming up on Roland Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Lawmakers in Mississippi are taking a stand against national voter suppression tactics stemming from recent Supreme Court decisions that were going to implement a new state-led Voting Rights Act. We'll talk to one of them. The White House, how stupid they are. First of all, the Department of Homeland Security, they arrest black activists and journalists in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Well, then the White House sends out this post of one of them that was AI generated showing that she was crying when she wasn't. Yeah, that's how stupid these people are. Also, Trump and his administration continue to pose threats to American national security, making alarming claims about seizing foreign countries and leaders, promoting false narratives of massacres, rewarding unqualified loyalists. We'll talk with former National Security Advisor Susan Rice and, of course, former ambassador to the United Nations about all of this drama. Capitol Hill has been heating this week with Democratic representatives lighting into Republicans. Wait till we show you Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and Congressman Joe Neguse in the show. In North Carolina, Barbara Scotia College has secured a significant legal victory that has reignited momentum for the historic HBCU's revival. However, the college president says they're running out of money. It's going to be hard for some of y'all, but I'm going to explain to you why it's time for them to shut down. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, voting rights have been under attack by Republicans for the last 2 decades. It has only intensified, and it could get worse based upon a couple Supreme Court cases. Actually, about 3 cases they're dealing with. One of them is Louisiana versus Cali that could very well wipe out black representation across the South. That's one issue. The other case deals with one out of Arkansas where conservatives sued in a federal court saying that third-party groups could not file voting rights lawsuits. That means NAACP Legal Defense Fund, Laws Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, Transforming Justice Coalition, ACLU, and on, because the conservatives said, oh no, that the only people who had the authority to sue on behalf of the Voting Rights Act would be the Department of Justice. Yeah, that's all that's happening, folks. That could absolutely gut the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And keep in mind, you already had the Shelby v. Holder decision. Well, in Mississippi, some lawmakers there want to take action to protect black voters. Earlier this week, members of the state's Black Caucus introduced a bill to establish a state-level Voting Rights Act ensuring protections for minority voters, even if federal safeguards are weakened. The Robert G. Clark Jr. Voting Rights Act is named after the first black Mississippian elected to the state legislature after Reconstruction. His courage has helped pave the way for the current 58-member Black Caucus in Mississippi. Supporters emphasize that the bill is not about party politics, it's about safeguarding the right to vote for future generations. Mississippi State Representative Brian Clark, Robert's son, and Kabir Kareem, the chair of the Mississippi Black Caucus, join us right now. Gentlemen, glad to have you on the show.
Thank you for having us.
So let's walk through this, Representative Clark. I'll start with you first. And the reason this really is smart to do. I think about Ohio, where former state representative there, Alicia Reese, was trying to get a state voter protection bill that would enshrine in the state constitution the right to vote. What people don't understand is that there is no affirmative right to vote for every American in the U.S. Constitution. Now, it says you cannot disenfranchise folk when it comes to voting. But so explain to people why, by doing this on the state level, then you do this You're not worried about what happens on the federal level, specifically for Mississippi, because you are placing it in, would this be state law or in the Mississippi Constitution?
And that's a great point, Roland. And again, thank you for having us on today for this important topic. But you're exactly right. When you think about what happened in the Shelby case back in 2013, and you think about what we're about to face now with the Louisiana versus Cali case, it is horrifying, especially being from Mississippi. And with Mississippi's history as far as voter suppression, voter intimidation, and everything that's going on, is that if federal law is continuing to be eroded, we may find ourselves in Mississippi where we have no protection as it relates to voters' rights. So what we're proposing is that if it happens on a federal level, that we need a safeguard on the state level that's going to protect the right to vote. Here in Mississippi, we've had Fannie Lou Hamer, Aaron Henry, Medgar Evers who shedded his blood. So we would have this opportunity, and we want to safeguard that. And to answer your question is, the bill that is House Bill 1446 is actually a bill that's going to be enshrined in state law. Now, ultimately, the best bet would to put it within the state constitution, that it would be a constitutional provision that's going to protect our right to vote.
And so, again, Kabir, people need to understand, and I'm always trying to walk folk through, I believe in connecting the dots, to get folk to understand that, first of all, elections in America are not federal elections. And we don't have one federal election, even for president. We have 50 state elections. So the John Lewis bill got passed by the House, did not get passed by the Senate. And so if if Congress is not going to act, then this is where you utilize state power. Conservatives have been doing this on the flip side, utilizing their control over state governments to pass laws that have been disenfranchising black folks.
No doubt about it. And Mississippi has some of the strictest voting laws in the nation. We don't have early voting. We don't have online voting registration. We don't have a ballot initiative. And to get your voting rights back is very cumbersome. So we felt it was very important to partner with our advocacy groups and members of the Black Caucus to make sure we produce this legislation to try to protect voter participation and voting rights here in the state of Mississippi. And I'm just glad that the Black Caucus introduced this legislation, and we're looking forward for the battle to get this passed.
Do you have any white lawmakers who agree with you on this bill?
We have one. We have a companion bill in the Senate. Senator David Blunt, who is a Democrat, has signed on to co-sponsor the bill with Senator Dupree. And in the House of Representatives, Representative Summers is leading the charge, and Black Caucus members are signed on to the legislation to show a unified front.
Obviously, this is going to be heavy lifting, Brian. It's not going to be easy at all.
Right. I mean, again, we're in Mississippi, and we acknowledge the fact that it's going to be an uphill battle. But when we did the press conference on Monday, I was talking about my dad, and one of the things he always said is, when the ballot box is threatened, you don't give up, you fight harder. And that's how we're looking at it in Mississippi. Here in Mississippi, whenever it's to anything that is suppressive as it relates to minorities, Mississippi is seen to lead the way. And as the Black Caucus and Democrats in Mississippi, we feel that we need to lead the way and lead this charge to try to push back some of this voter suppression that we think is coming forward. And here in Mississippi, Roland, we have a lot to lose. In the last 60 years, we have gained a lot of political power in this state. We have 58 members of the Legislative Black Caucus. In addition to that, we have a lot of African-American supervisors, mayors throughout the state, as well as aldermen, school board members. We have more African-American elected officials than any other state in the union. And if Cali becomes, if they strike Section 2 out of the Voters' Right Act, it could decimate the political landscape here in Mississippi. we can easily go from 58 African Americans in this legislative body to easily 10, as well as supervisors, board of alderpersons, council members, school board members across the state. So although we know it's an uphill battle, that's not deterring us. We got a full court press to try to get this legislation passed.
Well, we'll be looking out for it, and we certainly appreciate y'all leadership on this, and hopefully other states, the same thing will happen, especially where we have significant black representation, and then also where you have trifectas. You take Michigan, you take obviously California, you take Maryland, and some other places where this could be done as well, and it has to be done. Because I've been warning people. This Louisiana versus Cali decision, this is not just about CBC members. And we're talking about that could wipe out 19 or 20. This is going to go all the way down to state reps, state senators. It's going to be commissioners, county commissioners, city council members, school board districts. People have no idea what the impact is going to be, and based upon this court, and we have no confidence that this Supreme Court is going to side with righteousness in this case. They're going to rule in favor of these hardcore right-wingers.
And Roland, if I may, if you would notice on our lapel pin, in honor of our emeritus leader, we have a Black Caucus lapel pin in his remembrance. It just seems like the moons and the stars are lining up, because we did this because we recently lost him last year. Brian lost his father last year. And in remembrance, we have a Black Caucus lapel pin. I don't know if your audience can see it, but it's in remembrance of Robert G. Clark. And we stand on the shoulders of a caucus of one with him in 1967 to now a caucus of 58 members here in Mississippi. And we're just proud to honor him. And this Voting Rights Act is also another catalyst in his name that we will forever be grateful for him, because without him, there will be no us.
All right. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
And thank you, Roland, for everything you do.
All right. I'm going to bring in my panel. Joining me in studio, Randy Bryant, entrepreneur, author, speaker out of Washington, D.C. My man switched. There you go. Show Randy. Thank you very much. Dr. Greg Carr, Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University out of D.C. Glad we'll be later joined by Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show out of D.C. As well. Greg, I want to start with you. You said on a previous show that we have to be thinking about other strategies and not solely focus on the Voting Rights Act. You talked about other federal legislation. This is a perfect example. How you can utilize state power to achieve the same result. Sure, it's not national, but you're using power wherever you have it.
That's right, Roland, and thank you for having Brother Kareem and Brother Clark on, because that's a very insightful conversation you had, albeit a short one, but very potent. Yeah, you know, I say this all the time. The United States is not a nation. It's a country with a lot of different nations in it. These are not right-wingers. These are white supremacists, and I embrace them on their principle. They are fighting for their way of life and for their lives, and I embrace that because it is a dying strategy. The United States of America is not going to continue to exist in its current configuration, and I think federalism, now that they've caught the car and control the federal apparatus, is going to be one of the main reasons. Domestically, internationally, the United States, everybody's constructing superhighways to evade the United States, and I embrace that as well. What you just showed in Mississippi, and when Representative Clark mentioned in passing that the way to do it ultimately is to get a change in the state constitution, I think that's really what's going to ultimately succeed. And when they do that, in Mississippi, they had a voter ID referendum in 2011, some other things. They have to have over 107,000 certified signatures to get something on the ballot for a constitutional convention. They have to get 12% of the total voters in the last gubernatorial election. That's the number of signatures they have to get. And they have to have at least, I think it's maybe 12%, no, they have to have, I think, 40% vote for in each of the 5 congressional districts. And then ultimately they have to have 40% of the total votes cast, the number of votes in favor. They've put up a lot of roadblocks, but if you get it at the state constitution, the hillbillies are going to then go to the state Supreme Court and challenge it, and they may overturn it there. But the point of the point of all this, and the conversation you had, is very important to understand. Mississippi is very nearly majority black. This is where people who say, well, what can I do, have to now get off your booty and get involved. The federal government is going purebred fascist. The ICE, Gestapo, all this is here. At the state level, however, we can peel off enough states to paralyze the federal government and to reconcentrate and focus power at the local level. We need to stop talking about we're better than this as a country. We need to no. Now the battle goes to the states and the localities, and we need to abandon any notion of making peace with these people. We got to go to war with them like they have gone to war with us since we have been trafficked here.
Randy?
Exactly. When he says go to war, that's the issue right now. I don't think people understand it's a war. And we need to understand that they have laid out what they're going to do. They're doing it. And so how do we win? How do we fight back? And if we have to do it, not just on the federal level, say state level, let's get creative, let's get strategic, and have conversations where then figure out how we beat these white supremacists who are attacking everything about democracy and certainly attacking black people.
All right, then. All right, folks, hold tight 1 second. We come back, lots more to talk about. America celebrating 250 years, but they already are removing exhibits when it comes to slavery. These white folks this is going to be a whitewash celebration like you ain't never seen when you have white supremacists who are in control of the country. Plus, Sinners breaks record with Oscar nominations. We'll tell you what happened there as well. Lots to break down right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. America is being reshaped in real time by a group of 6 people, unelected and without any checks and balances. By the end of the current Supreme Court session, education, the workplace, who gets to elect our leaders, and so much more could radically change. This week, we reconvene our legal roundtable and look at what the new America may look like and how we should respond. That's next on the Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Swing Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer, and you're watching Black Star Network.
So, folks, you understand the whitewashing of history. Now, we know Trump and MAGA, they've been throwing out books and things along those lines. But one of the things that they have decided to do, let me plug my iPad in here. The National Park Service, they're dismantling exhibits at the President's House in Independence National Historical Park. I'm going to show you this here. This is a video that is on Twitter. Check this out. Slavery exhibits removed from Philadelphia's Independence National Park. You see right here, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to zoom in on this. So you see the dirty business of slavery. This is happening all around the country. They are desperately trying to wipe away history. Donald Trump and MAGA, they do not like the true telling of American history. They want a whitewash version. The other day, we had the former head of the U.S. Mint when they were supposed to be honoring African Americans on special coins, commemorative coins. They removed Frederick Douglass. They removed Ruby Bridges because they don't want that to happen. This is who these people are. They are challenging the Smithsonian exhibits as well, because they're claiming everything is DEI. They want to claim that, oh no, it's about patriotism and celebrating that. They do not want to tell the whole story of America. And that's the thing here, Randy. And what we have to understand, it's going to happen all year. There's going to be a white celebration of America's 250th anniversary, not a real American celebration.
Well, they consider American and Americans them. They consider America for white people. We're seeing that all the time. And it's easy for them to roll back programs like DEI because they're erasing the history that required us to have programs like DEI. They would like to act as if there was not segregation, there was not racism. They would try to act as if we didn't need civil rights. Like all of these things came out of the thin air because we're victims and we're always asking for something. They are creating a fiction of what America is. And this is not new, though. I mean, yes, it's worse right now, but if you think about the history books that have been created, they never really taught us the real history anyway. So this is what they do. They're made-up holidays. I mean, hell, starting at Christopher Columbus. So they continue with their lies. And they're masterful fiction writers.
Greg, I posted this on my social media the other day, and I played this clip many times, and I keep telling people, if you need a 33-second lesson of the United States, all you got to do is play this scene from the 2006 movie, The Good Shepherd, directed by Robert De Niro. And this is Matt Damon playing a WASP CIA agent and Joe Pesci playing an Italian mobster.
Let me ask you something. We Italians, we got our families and we got the church. The Irish, they have the homeland. The Jews, their tradition. Even the niggers, they got their music. What about you people, Mr. Carlson? What do you have?
The United States of America. The rest of you are just visiting.
Greg, that's it right there. That's literally how they view it. That's why Trump is over in Davos saying, oh, white genocide is real, no facts. That's why they're doing what they're doing. This is a white country to them, and we are seeing it, and you literally have a white nationalist who's in charge who's saying, oh, y'all can now easily, openly say these things, and it's no problem.
Yes, I agree. Of course. I love it. I need, you know, well, you always say I need people to understand. I don't care what people understand in that, because the reality is that the United States of America is in severe decline as an empire. We all heard the Prime Minister of Canada, Carney, who came back, by the way, this week from Davos and issued an even larger clarion call. Negroes maybe decide to move to Canada after you listen to what he said after he came back from Davos. China's moving ahead. Perhaps there'll be some daylight for Africa and the Caribbean. We'll have to see. The American Negro must now untangle him and herself from the leg of your master, because your master never wanted you and doesn't want you now. Philadelphia is my adopted hometown. This is how you wage the war in Philadelphia right now. I remember protesting with our brother Michael Cord and the Avenging the Ancestors Coalition attack as we fought there at Independence Hall and at that square for that exhibit. I was just there in November where most of the stuff was still there and they'd already taken down the television monitors. I embrace it, because what they're doing is wrapping themselves in the genealogy of their ancestors, that funky ass trafficker, human trafficker, George Washington, who lived in that same little square there where Hercules ran away and sold it on a judge. Go to hell, you bastard. You're not my dad. I don't care if you don't put me there. In the city of Philadelphia, the mayor, Sherelle Parker, the city council, my man Isaiah Thomas, and all the folks who are on the city council, y'all need to now take every one of them panels and put it up on Philadelphia public land and dare them crackers to come over there and even look at it without taking an ass whipping. It is time now for the war. Go back to 1976. Again, in my adopted hometown of Philadelphia. That is the year the African American Museum in Philadelphia opened, 1976. Also the year in Ohio, the National Afro-American Museum and Cultural Center opened in Wilberforce. We took the so-called bicentennial and made it black by not begging for ish. Let us go to war in 2026. I don't want to be commemorated in your funky white settler dream. You ain't having no babies. Your country's collapsing. The world is moving on, and the American Negro must now make a choice. This is the year we must make a choice and commemorate ourselves. Go to hell, white nationalists. It's crumbling. It's crumbling. Let's get out of the way and let it fall.
Well, what's unfortunate is that you are seeing, I mean, we're going to talk about sinners a little bit later. Poor little Matt Walsh, he was just so upset that sinners got, like, this is an inferior movie. Oh, Matt, you're okay? You're okay? But it's amazing to see how what Trump is unleashed. And not just when it comes to this, y'all. We had to witness Donald Trump traveling to Davos this week to speak at the World Economic Forum. This is the person who stood before and he called, he meant to say Greenland, but he mentioned Iceland 3 times. Before he left, he gave this rambling speech talking about his mom said he would have been a great baseball player in the major leagues. I mean, just on and on and on. I saw this tweet from, this is right-winger Clay Travis, who supposedly does sports and now does news, but he's about as relevant on politics as Stephen A. Smith is. And so he was like, oh, Trump is killing it in Davos. No, he was absolutely an embarrassment to this country. And now we're dealing with European countries who are now being targeted under assault because he wants to take Greenland. And he's made it clear they'll do it any way they want, even by force. We see Donald Trump also said while there that white genocide was happening in South Africa. Oh, he's going to dramatically raise European tariffs. We can go on and on and on. And there are some people who say, oh, no, Trump can do whatever he wants because Europe, they have to absolutely take it. I don't know about all of that. My next guest knows just a little bit about international affairs. She's a former national security advisor, former ambassador to the United Nations. Joining us, y'all, is Susan Rice. Susan, glad to have you on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Just give me your initial thoughts about, as somebody who has spent so much time dealing with international diplomacy, dealing with these countries, what we are facing right now with the twice impeached, criminally convicted con man in chief, and how he has no regard even for our allies. Just what is your assessment? How does it make you feel to watch this in real time?
Well, Roland, it's good to be with you and good to be with your viewers. This is really a critical time in our relationship with our European allies and Canada, the Transatlantic Alliance, as we call it. And it's a critical moment because Trump has made it clear, even with his, perhaps temporary climb down on Greenland, that he has absolute disdain for our European allies and partners. He, in his speech in Davos, went absolutely off in ripping Europe as a whole, but individual countries and individual leaders by name. And then, the meta message of his Greenland gambit and his, hands-off approach to supporting Ukraine is that he doesn't really care about NATO. He doesn't care about the Transatlantic Alliance, and he doesn't understand or refuses to acknowledge that the only time the mutual defense provision of the NATO treaty was ever invoked was when the United States was attacked on 9/11 and our allies came to our support and defense and fought side by side with us in Afghanistan. And Denmark, from whom we're looking to steal Greenland, according to Donald Trump, lost more soldiers per capita in Afghanistan than the United States and virtually any other NATO partner. And this is the thanks they get. So our European allies have come to the realization, perhaps belatedly, and of course so has Canada, that they can't count on the United States. The trust has been broken. And once trust is broken, you cannot put that Humpty Dumpty back together. The Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, called it a rupture. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, said it was permanent, that rupture. So even as we, maybe paper over and figure out a face-saving way for Trump to climb down on Greenland, first of all, I don't put it past him to raise this back again. He drops things and comes back to them all the time. But even if he has dropped it for good, the message to the Europeans is that he's willing to use economic tools of coercion like tariffs to punish them for upholding their treaty obligations. And basically, he's given Europe the finger. And the only person on the planet who benefits from that is Vladimir Putin. It's the greatest possible gift we could give Putin and Putin's Russia, which has aspired, ever since the fall of the Soviet Union, to dismantle NATO.
there was a lot of craziness that we heard in that speech. But this right here, I thought just really jumped out. Let me just play this.
And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps.
Well, guess what? The official language in Switzerland is German. I mean, this is the lack of tact, knowledge, all of that. And the right goes, oh, that's the Trump brand. Oh, this is great. This is wonderful. There is no way in the world, these people would be as, I won't even say apologetic. It's just ass kissing. It's the cult. If Biden or Obama or Clinton said and did these things, but it's literally, oh, how more stupid can he get? Oh my God, he was amazing. Oh my, that was just stunning. It is wild how they just accept the pure ignorance of this man.
Or I don't know if it's ignorance or willful refusal to acknowledge the facts. I mean, just do a thought experiment for just a second here. Imagine if Joe Biden had stood up on the world stage in Davos and 4 or 5 times called Greenland Iceland. And nobody says a peep when it's Donald Trump. Nobody questions, whether, he's mentally fit or knows what he's talking about or is, acting in the national interest of the United States. And all of those are legitimate questions, obviously.
You mentioned tariffs and the way he operates. It's back and forth. Oh, yeah, I'm going to snatch it. No, I'm going to do it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to pull back. Oh, but if you bring me a gift, then, oh, yeah, we'll let the Rolex watches in. How corrupt is this man? If you want to curry favor, bring him a gift. Or your FIFA, create a peace prize and put on a big old show at the Kennedy Center about how great he is.
Well, there's no doubt that a huge amount of our foreign policy seems to be dictated by his ego and whether he feels sufficiently, kowtowed to by leaders around the world. But none of that has anything to do with the national interest. None of that has anything to do with our economic security and vitality, much less putting, food on the table of people in this country who are hungry and don't know where their next meal is going to come from or don't know how they're going to pay their health care bills or electricity bills. He seemingly could care less about that, but he's doing a hell of a good job lining his own pockets and that of his family and his cronies.
I look at Africa, fastest growing, 6th or 7th and 10th fastest growing continents in the world, extremely young continent. We look at what's happening when it comes to resources. And then we look at this list this man has put together, canceling visas, stopping people. The hatred of African nations is abundantly clear. The targeting of nations where there are black and brown people is abundantly clear. This man stood up in Philadelphia, if I'm correct, if I believe, gave a speech saying, can we not just get a few more people from Denmark and Sweden and Finland? Just a few. He's literally saying, I only want white people coming to this country. I do not want black and brown. He stands in front of the world and trash Somalis, their thugs, their pirates, how he shames and condemns. And unfortunately, many African leaders, and you've met with many as well, have to take it because unfortunately the type of foreign aid that we provide around the world. That does not bode well, again, for the future of this country, the type of attacks that this man is unleashing along with his right wing, his wingman, Elon Musk.
And J.D. Vance. But let's be clear, Roland, we're not giving foreign aid anymore like we used to. He's killed USAID. He's killed global health programs, and he's killed development programs, and he's killed the support for democracy programs. So to the extent that African leaders, and too many of them are, kowtowing to Donald Trump, it's not for the money. It may be for corruption. It may be for business deals, but it's not for foreign assistance anymore. But the disdain you described, the hatred you described, that Trump clearly feels for nations and people of color is, not surprising, but it's really quite extraordinary. There's 75 countries now around the world, 75 countries that have been, from which we have suspended the granting of all immigrant visas. That's basically almost half the planet. And you're right. None of them are in Western Europe or Northern Europe. But he does not like he treats our European partners better either. I mean, he trashed Macron at Davos. He trashed Europe as a whole. He trashed Mark Carney of Canada by name. I mean, he's an equal opportunity bully in some ways.
Last question for you is this: what do people do? When I travel abroad, when I was in Jamaica for vacation, there was a sister. She said, "I've lived here 5 years because I cannot deal with the craziness there." What do people do? What do you say to the folks who are watching? Got elections coming up in November, midterm elections. You got 2028, and all I hear from folks is, "What do we do?" What say you?
Roland, we have to take this into our own hands. There is no wishing this away, hoping it's going to get better, worrying about the price of eggs as being the most important thing that people vote on. Too many of us sleptwalk through 2024. And we are frankly part of the reason why, we are getting what we've gotten. Not just us, but some of us. And frankly, yes, we have to register. We have to vote. We have to get other people out to vote. We have to say that we don't want to be part of a country where we're relegated back to the 19th century in chains and effectively, 3/5 of a citizen. That's the path we're on. And it's not just for Black people. It's brown people. It's Muslim people. It's disabled people.
Is women?
People. It's women. It's basically everybody who's not a rich, elite, white, Christian, straight male. And, everybody else is in the crosshairs. And so we have to recognize what this is, and we've got to stand up for ourselves. The ballot box is a crucial way. But we are well down the path to authoritarianism in this country. When ICE can come to the door or the car of a U.S. citizen with no warrant and rip them out, sometimes in their underclothes, and disappear them, deny them access to legal counsel or their family or whatever. That's what's happening around this country, not just in Minnesota, but all over the country. That is no longer a country in which the rule of law predominates. And if we can either take it, or we can join with our neighbors and our communities and groups that are, allies and partners, and some that aren't right now close allies and partners, but face the same reality of one way or another being sent back to the 19th century. And we can protest peacefully, nonviolently, in a sustained fashion. That is what has worked time and again in many other countries in the world that have gone down a similar path. It has to be peaceful, it has to be nonviolent, it has to be mass, and it has to be sustained, Roland. It can't be, one city, and it can't be, every 3 months or every 4 months. It's got to be on a sustained basis, and we've got to speak out. We've got to be brave. We've got to remember that our ancestors bled and died for the right of us to vote and have our civil liberties. And we're going to sit here and let them be taken away and do nothing. It's time we recognize, what's at stake, and conjure a little John Lewis energy, and stand up for our rights, and bring others along with us. Because if we don't, they won't be here for long.
Susan Rice, we appreciate you joining us. Look forward to having you back on the show. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Roland. Good to be with you.
Likewise. I'll go to my panel. I'm going to go to Reese first. You know, Reese, you say United States across the world. I mean, folk just roll your eyes. You go to other countries and then you tell them where you're from. They're like, oh my God, we got to pray for you because y'all got a madman. I mean, this man is absolutely and utterly insane. And you look at these nutcases on the right, they just go, bravo, bravo. He's amazing.
Well, he's dumb like them. I mean, this is the most incompetent, stupid motherfucker that we could ever imagine representing us on the world stage. You know, Davos is normally just a bunch of rich people getting together, you know, talking about AI or whatever the situation may be. And it has turned into this catastrophic, like, world crisis summit now, where you have everybody trying to play defense and offense, and you have leaders trying to establish a new world order, which I would argue that the world order was always established at Davos and with all these wealthy people getting around smoking cigars and drinking whiskey. But it's all out in the open and nobody can turn away from it. Unfortunately, I don't think that this country really understands the severity of the damage that Donald Trump has done to the credibility of the United States. We should not be in 2026 relitigating a treaty that has worked damn fine since 1951. But what this man is doing is showing that this country has gone off the rails. There is no such thing as a check and balance on Donald Trump. He has surrounded himself with dumbass sycophants who are equally unequipped to challenge or to face the challenges that we have. And unfortunately, we have a president that wants to manufacture problems. And then when he gets a non-solution to the problem that didn't exist in the first place, he says mission accomplished, like he's W on a ship. But the reality is the only thing he's accomplished is further weakening America. Now, I personally happen to think that that is the point for him. I don't think that he's an agent of the United States. I think he's an agent for himself, for his wealth, and for whatever is going to line his pockets. And so he does not have anything invested in making America stronger. And every single move that he's made points to that. And that's the only reason why any of this would make any kind of sense.
I mean, if you want to hear insanity, listen to this, y'all. This shows how insane this fool is.
And you can put that genius to work. And it's an honor to do it. In a way, I'm jealous. In a way, I'm upset. There are a couple of people in the room, I can't stand them, and they've become very rich. There's nothing I can do about it. I would screw them if I could, but I can't do it, right, Dina? I can't do it. I would if I had a chance, if I could just take them and say,
that's how stupid these people are. And they're like, oh no, that's Randy. Like, oh, that's funny, that's cute. Oh my God, he actually said that. I mean, oh, that was just so cute of Don saying that. He spoke, and former Vice President Al Gore, who actually has a Nobel Peace Prize that was given to him.
Right.
It wasn't a gift from somebody else. He was on CNN talking to Caitlin Collins, and let's just say he didn't hold back.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for standing, obviously, outside the room. And I would love to know what you thought of the president's speech, given you are obviously a very prominent U.S. policymaker. And what did you make of hearing it from the U.S. perspective, given so many of the European friends that are in the room?
Well, I think it was a classic Trump performance. I would hate to be the fact checker that had to go through that speech. But I think there was one element of the speech that I would interpret as a positive. I think perhaps because of the stock market's reaction yesterday, he appeared to back down from his previous threat to use military force to acquire Greenland. And if I'm interpreting that correctly, I think that's a good thing. It was, of course, crazy that he would do such a thing in the first place, but I think he backed down, and that's good.
So you directly tie him making the clearest statement yet that the United States is not going to use military force to take Greenland. You think that's because of what happened in the stock market yesterday?
Oh, I can only speculate. I don't know what's inside his mind. It would be quite something if I could see inside his mind, but many people have speculated that the bond market and the stock market really have a lot of influence on him. And when it goes down almost 900 points and people do interpret it as a sell America trade, that may well have been the reason he backed down. It may have also been that a lot of people who are close to him, who are more tethered to reality, convinced him that he had made a mistake.
And can I get your take on what the president...
Now, you know what's going to happen now, Randy. He's going to say, damn it, Al Gore said it, bomb him, take him. That's how stupid this man is.
And everything is about getting back at people. But, you know, it's so interesting to me. Trump never had a foreign policy. Even when he was running for president, he did not have a foreign policy. He only cares to how he's going to make himself richer and his cronies richer. And absolutely, Gore suggested it. He backed off of a little bit. But the only reason that Trump ever backs away from something is because it affects the stock market. It affects money. Money is his language of choice, his love. That is what he's focused on. You look at every time with the tariffs, every time he's gone back and forth, because he's always walking things back. He doesn't stick with anything. That's why they called him Taco, always going back and forth. He only has gone back, pulled away from things when it has hurt the stock market or financials. He gives no damns about how the United States looks to the rest of the world. He gives a shit less. It is about money for him, and it's about him, not the United States whatsoever. He does not act like an agent for the United States. He acts as an agent for him, white supremacy, and making them more powerful and richer.
And listen, it's very simple. His treatment of other European countries, and frankly, what they should do. They should form their own alliances. Ignore the United States. Create their own trade alliances, Greg. China is sitting over there going, ooh, thank you. This crazy-ass fool is back in office. Putin is happy. And yeah, this so-called border peace, whatever the hell he's charging $1 billion for, if you're a country that signed up for it, that money's going to disappear. Y'all are being conned.
Yeah, and it won't matter because the BRICS is still, it's in its infancy, but their payment system where they can engage in currency transactions, avoiding the dollar completely, it's in its infancy. It's not ready, but it will be ready at some point. Jared Kushner, a vile human being, unveiling plans for a mega city in Gaza on the bones of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. I embrace Kushner. I embrace Trump. I tell you, man, let me just continue to say this. I embrace them because this is a criminal enterprise, and this is how it was always going to go. The only difference is you have Donald Trump accelerating the timetable. I mean, I encourage everyone. I agree with Reese. It's just rich boys coming together doing their thing. But let's be crystal clear. It's the people who think they run the world who come together at Davos. And when you heard Mark Carney give the speech that perhaps a John Kennedy or a Barack Obama, not a Barack Obama, I don't think, because by now the neoliberals have eaten the United States government. Perhaps John Kennedy would have given the speech that Mark Carney gave. Because Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, talked about multiculturalism, multilateralism. He talked about a mea culpa, even the crimes of Western civilization, saying, and he even said that the system we live in, the post-World War II system, is a hypocrisy. It was designed to have a hegemon. The United States of America and the rest of the world, led by the Europeans, winked and looked the other way because it prevented wars. I encourage everyone to read Robert Kagan's article that just got dropped on The Atlantic a couple of days ago called America versus the World. He's a neocon, Brookings Institution. He's not happy about this, but what he's clear about is this. The United States, an empire in decline, hey, baby, it's over. Now, I don't mean it's over tonight. What I mean is that the world has moved on. Mark Carney just came back, as you heard Reese say, from what you just said, from Beijing, when he said new world order. Just that slow and with that pace. What he is saying is the racists of the United States of America, by withdrawing from their cousins in Europe, have now sent a message to the world that you can't be trusted to keep the peace. Finally, you know why we haven't had a world war since World War II? Because the post-World War II institutions, the United Nations, the World Bank, the International Money Fund, all institutions, by the way, that Carney critiqued by saying that there is hypocrisy there, what? It stopped the nations of the world from going to war. Let me be very clear about where we are right now and what we have to do. If I could have asked Ambassador Rice a question, since she's been in all these rooms and knows very well what Robert Kagan knows and what everybody else knows, let's move away a little bit from the voting rights and be like John Lewis and have peaceful protests, and it must be peaceful. Madam Ambassador, can we talk realpolitik for a moment? What do you see as the future of not only the United States of America, but the European World Project, which began 500 years ago, which moved from Europe to the United States, specifically England to the United States, in a handoff that was culturally seamless, except the problem of the indigenous and us, and we've been fighting ever since and all along. And now it moves, to your point finally, Roland, from the United States to China. You know what Europe is doing? It's looking at, when she said the only person that wins from this is Putin, I wanted to scream. I said, Madam Ambassador, please get away from that Cold War rhetoric and embrace the world that you know exists, because you've been in them briefing rooms. Do you understand now that the EU, if they bond together, might be able to keep that European project going a little longer, but only a little longer, because China has made deals all over the world and is strengthening them. And unless I miss it, Canada has gone to China. Macron, who that fool in his disassociative speech made up a whole conversation of lies that he had that he didn't have with Macron. Macron been to Beijing. It's over. Not just the United States. 500 years of white supremacy. We're on the brink. Carney trying to keep it going, but if we're smart, we will rethink this entire thing. Ambassador Rice, I would have loved to answer those questions. Does she know what it is? I'm tired of them talking about this nativism in a soft power format. It's time for black people to make a bunch of different decisions in the United States of America, because the world getting ready to move on from the United States.
All right, folks, going to break. Man, lots to talk about in the second hour of the show. Another HBCU having significant issues, this time in North Carolina. Then, of course, we've got the arrest of black activists, the targeting of journalists in Minneapolis. Yo, Jack Smith was lighting that ass up on Capitol Hill today, exposing the fraud when it comes to the election. Then we had, of course, other hearings going on. So, man, it's a whole lot we got to get to next on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. The goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each a year, $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. Listen, if you can't give that, you give less. We appreciate that. Does not matter. And the people who actually have given more, and I appreciate that as well. If you want to use Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here on the screen. Click the Cash App button to contribute. Also, that's for credit cards. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo's RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Be right back.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Succession. We're hearing that word pop up a lot these days as our country continues to fracture and divide. But did you know that idea, essentially a breaking up of the USA, has been part of the public debate since long before and long after the Civil War, right up to today? On our next show, you'll meet Richard Crichton, the author of this book, who says breaking up this great experiment called America might not be such a bad thing. That's on the next Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
How you doing? I'm Mark Curry, and you're watching the Black Star Network. That's why I got these glasses on, because that black star is bright.
All right, folks, another HBCU having major issues. Barbara Scotia College emerged from a 3-year-long tax battle. And now the president dropped a video saying school's out of money. Barbara Scotia College President Chris Ray shared a video explaining the dire situation facing the HBCU.
To all the Saber family, friends, I am President Chris Ray, the 20th president of Barbara Scotia College. One of the things that has allowed me to, I believe, be as successful in this journey as president of this institution that we are working on trying to bring back alive is transparency. And I don't know any other way on how to lead as a leader. But today is probably one of my toughest days as the president of the college. Now, I know many of you have been seeing the news articles, all the wins that we have been having, all the work that we've been putting in for the institution. It's been an amazing 2.5 years. But I will tell you that it has been also a true struggle in raising money. No, it's not easy raising money for an unaccredited institution. But the alumni have done an amazing job of stepping up to the plate. Individuals who believe in the mission of what we're doing, the friends and supporters of Barbara Scotia College. But today is probably the toughest financial day. We have completely run out of money as an institution. Many of our students, they who have decided to come and be on this journey with us, many of them, they have struggled to pay because they don't have access to federal financial aid yet. And it has been truly a challenge for them. Some of our major donors that we had relied on from in the past did not come through this end of last year and this year, early part of this year. And so we are in a really, 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 really tough place. I can't keep on doing the work. I can't pay staff. The majority of my staff are volunteers, but there are a few folks, including myself, no one's getting paid this month, and that's being transparent. There are some critical bills that are not going to get paid if we don't figure this out. I've been putting in the work. Our alumni base is small, so we don't have the folks who can give us the millions and drop the big checks, but they've been faithful. I love the alumni of Barbara Scotia College, and I'm grateful for them. But I'm telling you that this is a call for everyone. If you believe in HBCUs, if you believe in what we've been doing here, I need your help. I need your help. I just need your help. Because if not, we will cease to doing the work that we're doing. Because as of this moment, as of today, we have completely run out of money. As I continue to fight the good fight, I can't do it by myself, and I'm tired. That's just the honest to God truth. I'm tired. So I'm asking for your help and your support. Please click on the link. Please donate. We turn 159 years old next week. If you can donate $159, if you can donate more, you can donate less, whatever you can give, and help me come back and show the world that I'm not in this fight by myself and that we have the support out here to be able to pull this off. The next phase for us is applying for accreditation. To apply for accreditation, we need to have at least $250,000 in the bank to apply for accreditation. But right now, I just want to focus on this new battle, which is to get through the month of January. And we will keep on fighting until I can't fight no more. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Please share this video. And I want to watch God work. Thank you, guys.
All right, so Barbara Scotia, Presbyterian institution, founded in 1867, located almost 30 acres in Northeast Charlotte. They've been struggling for more than 20 years. Lost accreditation in 2004. 2023, they had 4 students, all enrolled online. 2025, the enrollment increased to 114 students. They fielded a football team for the first time. But they then started canceling games. We reached out via email and called to invite Ray back on the show. We've yet to receive a response. Others were on a couple years ago. So let me say this, and we have covered many HBCUs that have had issues, St. Augustine's, we talked about Bethune-Cookman, and so many others. And so y'all know that we have we've done many shows from HBCU campuses. The 107, I personally visited almost 60 of them, have done almost 20 commencements at HBCUs. And so I don't say this lightly. I'm going to be as clear as possible. Barbara Scotia has to close down. At some point, we have to recognize that you are putting money down a sinkhole, that you are, in essence, burning money. I understand the historic alumni and graduates. I understand that we don't want to see a university close. But here's what I do understand. I need folk to realize, I'm not saying this only because it's Barbara Scotia. I have said this about black newspapers. I've said this about black churches. I've said this about black businesses. But not just black. I'm a 1991 graduate of Texas A&M University. And a number of years later, another president came in and made the decision, we need to get rid of the journalism department. And there were Aggie journalists who were just shocked and appalled, and they were working, and they were, no, we need to save the institution. So they hit me up. It's probably the most prominent A&M graduate, the journalism graduate, before it was Loud Lovett, the country singer. And I said no. They were like, what? I said no. A&M should lose its journalism department. I said when I was there, 2/3 of the people who were in the program didn't want to be journalists. They had flunked out of other colleges. And so they just wanted a degree from A&M, so they picked journalism. I said I was sitting in classes with people who didn't want to be journalists. They wanted to go into PR and some other different stuff. I said, no. I said, in fact, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board allocates resources for a reason. I said, if you look at the map, and A&M is really sort of like in the center, I said, you can go to that little school in Austin, TU, some call University of Texas. They got a top journalism program. You go to the University of North Texas, then North Texas State, they have a top television program. I said, even though Sam Houston State did not have an accredited journalism program, they actually had great facilities. I actually visited that school in their program when I was a senior in high school. I said, if you go down to Houston, University of Houston and Texas Southern University both had schools of communications. So if you want to major in journalism, you pick a school based upon the major. Now, the reason I picked A&M is because my brother was there, and it was cheaper for my parents to have two of us in one place at one time. They couldn't afford to send us to college. Then my sister joined us next year. Made it easier for all three of us to support each other going to the same school. Plus, he got a scholarship, I got a scholarship that helped defray costs. So I've been public about supporting things and shutting them down. Y'all, you've been struggling now for 20-some odd years. You just went through this whole tax fight. You cannot sustain a college with 100 students. And by not being accredited, they can't get financial aid. I know somebody's watching and they're saying, Roland, I hear you, but Morris Brown. Look at Morris Brown. I mean, they went 20 years. They went 20 years and they came back. Morris Brown is not back. Morris Brown is still, it's a slog. Yes, got accreditation, but it's still a slog. You cannot keep going back to the same donor saying, please help us out, help us out. That decision to start a football team was insane. It was insane. You simply could not afford the program, which is why they started canceling games. At some point, we've got to make business decisions that are smart business decisions. Now, somebody's watching, and they're saying to me, "Man, that's hardcore." Yeah, but I'm gonna show y'all. There's a university in New York City. it was called the College of New Rochelle. And for the lack of, I'm looking on it. So this is just, I don't like, matter of fact, I can't show that. I can't show a Wikipedia page. So let me pull this up here. In 2019, the College of New Rochelle shut down. It was a Catholic university. They started in, let me see, when did they start? They started in 1904. They lasted until 2019. They couldn't make it. I remember years ago reading Vanity Fair, and I believe it was in Virginia. I think it was a women's college. Shut down. There have been other HBCUs that have shut down. Recently, we saw a predominantly black school in Indiana that shut down. 2015. Hold on, pull it up. Sweetbriar Marks. Yo, this was a major institution in Virginia. They shut down. I saw one story that said they expect some 400 colleges to shut down over the next decade because of declining enrollment. So if we are going to ask our folk to support HBCUs, then we've got to be supporting those institutions that actually have a chance to survive on the path to thrive. And I did not callously decide to do this commentary. But if you listen to the voice of the president, it sounded like a hostage video. He was defeated, deflated, and you can't just keep going back. He said, we're gonna need a minimum of $250,000 to try to get our accreditation back. There is no guarantee. And so if I'm going to ask African Americans to drop $250,000 or $500,000, it makes more sense to put those resources in a school that can survive. And I know, and I've had people at Barber Scotia who've emailed me, and we're trying to bring it back, but y'all, we have got to have some real conversations, because a lot of our institutions, and I'm not just talking HBCUs, a lot of our institutions are financially in trouble. Y'all have heard me say, because of the anti-DEI attacks, right now, there are a lot of black nonprofits. There are a lot of black-owned newspapers, a lot of black media outlets. There are a lot of our so-called black businesses, which really are consulting businesses, which really is me, only one person. Those folks ain't getting contracts because of what's been drying up. And so how do we have real conversations about capacity building in our community when we're trying to keep everybody alive and you can't? And so when I'm looking at nonprofits, I'm looking at other entities, do you know what people do? The first thing they do is they assess the financial health and viability of the institution. And Barber Scotia put together this strategic plan in 2022. Y'all, I'm sorry, and I hate to say it, some things have to come to an end. And I remember reading Vanity Fair. I remember reading the article on Sweetbriar College. And the article talked, y'all, this was a 2,847 acre campus. And the Board of Trustees declared this. They cited insurmountable financial challenges. Now, if you telling me that a white women's college that was nearly 3,000 acres, that had significant alumni, could not survive. And look, it said right here, Sweetbriar cut its tuition, fees, and room and board cost by a third in 2017. couldn't survive. They invested in the campus and athletic facilities, couldn't survive. Developed a 3-year enhanced strategic plan, couldn't survive. Y'all, sometimes you have to bring things to an end. I'm gonna go to my panel, and I'm gonna start with you, Greg. It's hard to say these things, but sometimes black folk have got to just acknowledge a reality that's staring us in the face. Just your thoughts.
Well, brother, again, there's a common theme emerging tonight. The American Negro has some difficult choices to make. In the shadow of Barbara Scotia, at another school there in Charlotte.
I was muted.
Sorry, am I? Okay, at another school in Charlotte in 1960, Johnson C. Smith, Dr. Du Bois gave a talk called Whither Now and Why. He said, these laws are going to change. There will be desegregation. And at that point, the American Negro has to make the real decision. He says the real decision is about race and it's about culture. Will we disappear into this American void? He said, this is what's going to happen. Your children are going to start making different decisions about where to go to school, and some of them will drop out together. Some of y'all are going to chase the white phantom. He said that in 1960 at Johnson C. Smith, another, by the way, piece of prime real estate that the developers in the Charlotte area have been licking their chops in addition to Barbara Scotia. And it seems to me that the American Negro has become increasingly infantilized since the end of the Black Power movement era in the 1970s and 80s. What do I mean by that? I mean, our children now dream of playing for Duke, ball chasing for Duke or the University of North Carolina, or for that matter, playing football for the University of Texas or your alma mater, or a school in the shadow of my alma mater, Tennessee State Vanderbilt University. They dream of white institutions because they say they have better facilities. They have all this stuff. And here's the choice that we should have made years ago, which I don't know that we'll make now, even as I see the world changing and global geopolitics becoming more multipolar. The American Negro may very well be left behind. And what the hell? Du Bois tried to tell us and we don't listen. And they don't listen to you now, because remember when they sacked that sister at Texas A&M and you were like, athletes shouldn't come. Ain't no Negroes making no different kind of choices except where can I get this NIL money and where can I get this training facility and where all these kind of things. Here's where I'm going with this. Brother, you remember, this is only a few months ago, Jeff Yass, another white nationalist billionaire, gave $100 million to some made-up ass school in Austin, Texas called the University of Austin.
Yeah, a right-wing college.
Come on.
And Barry Wise was associated with them before she came with CBS.
Come on, brother. Listen, Roland, what you're telling us, you're giving us hard medicine, but here is what we have to do as if we're going to take this medicine. I don't expect we will, because we still think the Sinners is going to win Best Picture at the Oscars. The American Negro is delusional. But the point is this. When you see billionaires funding their white nationalist dreams, the new school, new college in Florida, or this University of Austin, you can't match them dollar for dollar. You can match them, however, body for body, because we are the labor force that enabled them to become rich. When a ball chaser decides that she's going to throw balls into a hoop at the University of Connecticut instead of going to Grambling, when a ball chaser decides that he's going to go knock people over in Tuscaloosa, Alabama instead of Tuskegee or Alabama State, I am putting the onus on his parents, on her parents and community, because you have trained those Negroes because they watched you to chase something other than your self-determination. Barbara Scotia may very well close, but the university I work at, Howard University, that may think for a moment it is safe, even as tuition soars past $60,000 a year, better go back and understand two things. Number one, as Du Bois said 40 years before he gave that speech in 1960, where he said some of these smaller Negro colleges need to consolidate and become feeders to the HBCUs that are larger so we can figure out how to create our own self-sustaining system. And here's the bombshell, friends. We talked about this last Thursday night at Howard. We did a panel called Reimagining Public Education. Go to Howard's website and go watch that conversation we had there. The university as a concept, my friends, is dead. It's about to die. the AI revolution, the disruption, all that's going to go. You can't keep charging people $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 a year for skills that they can develop without paying that kind of money, particularly the poor, and particularly when these billionaires are funding all their own pet projects, and you won't get off your booty enough to involve yourself in the political process so that their white nationalist friends that they paid for to be in the legislature steal your tax dollars to subsidize those slave plantations, particularly in the South, where your sons and daughters are chasing ball, while the HBCUs that surround those plantation schools slowly die. It's time for a choice, American Negro, but I might be like Du Bois. Shit, he went to Ghana, and I might go too. Because the American Negro is a race of children at this point, if we don't make some different kind of decisions and make them soon.
Let me say this, Sweet Briar College didn't shut down. I remember they announced the decision, but they made all these different changes to bring it back. And one of the things that they did was they looked at the land where the university was, and they reconfigured how they were using that land, something that folks have been talking about should happen at St. Augustine's with the land that they have. And you'll see right here, it said they embrace its agricultural heritage. And on those land now, they have vineyards growing grapes for Virginia wines and providing auxiliary revenue for the college. So they were going to shut down, but they didn't. But let me show you this here so you can understand what has happened. And that is, there have been, in the last year, there have been 16 colleges that have shut down. 16. These are not HBCUs. These are 16 colleges. And so we got to understand, Randy, this thing is happening. And I just want us as African Americans to begin to understand when we're talking about, again, asking folk to keep giving. Somebody asked me once, somebody said, Roland, if you decide to give $500,000 to an HBCU, would you give it to support an athletic program? I said no. I said no. I said I would give that $500,000 to an academic program because I can actually help. You can hire more faculty and help more students stay in school than the athletic program. Those are decisions that you have to make.
Right.
When Talladega announced they were going to start a gymnastics program, well, Fisk did. They had to abandon it. They couldn't afford it because that wasn't gymnastics in their conference. The travel costs were extraordinary. We had the brother on the show. He wanted to start an ice hockey team at Fisk. Okay, nice idea, but unless the hockey team is going to sit here and underwrite it, the cost to do a hockey team annually was more the entire Tennessee athletic budget. It was like, what are we doing here? But I just see right here that we're going to the same folks saying, hey, save us, save us, save us. There's some things that need to end. I have said to some black newspapers, you need to shut down and merge. Mm-hmm. I've said to other black-owned businesses, there should be joint ventures. You need to merge. It doesn't make sense having 5 PR companies doing the same thing, neither one doing $100,000 or $200,000 in billing, and you got 5 offices, 5 light bills, all that sort of stuff. Doesn't it make sense to say, hey, can we create one large PR firm to get larger business? Sometimes you got to make those decisions.
You're absolutely right. It's so interesting. I go to this corridor in L'Enfant Plaza, right? And it's a corridor of all of these women, actually, who provide services. They do my hair, they do my nails, they do my lashes, they do all the things. And all of them, as I've been going, they said they're suffering. They are going, they're making it week to week because of what's happening with the economy, particularly in the Washington, D.C. area. And I said to them, have you considered consolidating suites? Some of you are there certain days, some, close down other days. And it really started this whole conversation and thought process is, are we ready as black people to make the sacrifices that we need to make, unite and get through to the other side? Because we are under attack, right? And, it's understandable because we were brought here without our wanting to be. That we don't have the immigrant mindset where people will share houses, where you have multi-generations in houses. That's how we used to be. And we kind of got away from that. And what I see happening, well, we've gotten away from it. and we all want our own. But from what I see of what's happening in this country, it requires of us to make those critical changes in order to literally survive.
Right.
And that
the goal
does
is to
mean
survive.
The goal is to survive.
Thrive.
Right. Right. To survive, to thrive. Exactly.
Not to be comatose.
Right, absolutely. And so, yes, I applaud the ideas of smaller colleges, some shutting down or banding the resources together so we can go forward. But everybody trying to do their own thing is not going to work, not now.
That point, Reese, I have said that, and I've been saying it for decades, I fear for what's happening with black-owned media. And I've said to a whole bunch of folk, I said, y'all, this whole anti-DI thing, it's hitting a whole lot of people. It's hitting a whole lot of people. And folks are not paying attention. Folks are like, and then now all of a sudden, I'd never forget, 2023, NAACP Image Awards. I was yelling and screaming. They were like, man, he talking too much. Why he so loud with this? And I said, y'all, DEI is dead. The panel's on DEI. I said, I'm telling y'all right now, the chair of the board was not even sitting 15 feet in front of me. I said, I'm trying to warn y'all. It's coming. Brace yourself. I said, we're going to see a wipeout in Black America. And folk thought I was joking. And now, folks, and now all of a sudden you're seeing it in real time. And so I just need people to recognize what's real. This is an Inside Higher Education report, Reese. Hold on, don't go to my iPad yet. This was in December 2025. And it said the colleges that could not survive in 2025: Northland College, St. Andrews University, Limestone University, Macomb College, Penn State Du Bois, Penn State Fayette, Penn State Mont Alto, Penn State New Kensington, Penn State Shenango, Penn State Wilkes-Barre, Penn State York, Siena Heights, the King's College, Trinity Christian College, Sterling College, Martin University. And then to jump to the list of mergers, click here. So if I click here, now all of a sudden it lays out these institutions. Look at this, Villanova, a significantly larger institution, will absorb Rosemont. So here's one of those things. There are other HBCUs that are there in North Carolina. Okay, what's the possibility? The campus is 23 acres. Okay, come on. Is there an HBCU, Reese, in North Carolina that could create a satellite campus there in Charlotte? So all of a sudden, if that institution acquires the assets of Barbara Scotia College, see, again, this is how the thinking has to be. But at the end of the day, if you cannot sustain yourself, you figure out a way to maintain your history by, again, merging or being acquired, but to keep asking people to say, please keep getting, that's not, I'm sorry, it's not going to work because it hasn't worked.
Right. Yeah, a legacy is not going to be enough of a value proposition. The value has to come in the actual value, the return on the investment. And so part of it, you would like to think that education, you don't have to make those financial kind of arguments, but you do. It's still a business at the end of the day. And so you have to evolve and you have to offer a value that makes people want to buy in. That's value for students to want to come and pay tuition, value for alumni so that they have something to invest in. And if you are not providing that value, which the proof is in the pudding, you have no money, then you have to rethink it. I don't think that it's incumbent upon us to preserve things that aren't providing value. It's not about nostalgia anymore. The real world is kicking our ass too much to be trying to preserve something just for namesake. It can't just be namesake. It has to be something substantive.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in evolving. There's no shame in merging. Sorry, somebody got to give up the title. Somebody got to give up the office. Somebody got to give up the prestige. Somebody got to give up maybe that salary. And you may not have the juice in this new hierarchy when you merge, but so be it. At some point, people are going to have to come to terms with that. But I do want to speak to your point about Black media as well. Black people are the tastemakers in this country, and we set so many trends, we set so many tones, and people follow us in what we watch. And there is a whole world of people who wouldn't have no idea who nobody black is, and that works to our advantage. But the reality is a lot of people follow us. And what I want us to do, and I said this probably in 2023, and I've been saying it on your show for years, I want us to recognize the power of what has been built already. Not just the power of who's left mainstream media. And there are people, Don Lemon is a person I consider a friend, and I love him, and he's had me on his show. But I think that it is erasing and it's minimizing the power of the institutions that have been built, like a Roland Martin and Filter, like Black Star Network, or like what me and my friend Dr. Carr are on, Urban View. I know that's not black owned, but my point is that there have been infrastructures and there have been people who have been doing the work, but because as the tastemakers, so many people are so built on what said and what argument was on Abby Phillips' show, or who came from this main network, and now they out there speaking truth, as we have all been doing for years, for hours a day on our platforms. And so as the tastemakers, we have to at some point decide to stop putting that premium on things that don't come from us. And to start putting that premium and making the things go viral, the things that we've been saying all along. That's how we're going to empower ourselves.
Yep. And the fact of the matter is, you've long said it. And when I see people post items and we've had discussions here. Matter of fact, it's a perfect example. We had the president of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore on this show talking about her lawsuit against a professor. We had her on. 6 weeks later, a white media outlet picks it up. Then 3 black media outlets write stories based upon what that white outlet said about the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. And I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all late, because we had the exclusive. And so it happens all the time. And that, you know, when Greg's brother, when he was on here, when he said, and we sent our promo, black folks, bring your eyeballs home. We always are saying that. We drive numbers. And I have people who go, hey man, you know what? You should do this or you should do that. We need to get millennials watching. I said, listen, all I can do is do the show every day. I said, I'm here. I said, but to your point, when you look at how other stuff goes viral, and I just sit there and go, ain't that interesting? And understand how white media works. Every time Stephen A. Smith can belch, and the New York Post and Mediaite, they gonna run stories. Never gonna call us. Those things happen. But I do want people to see this here, because I mentioned earlier, these are the mergers that took place in 2025. Rosemont College, Villanova University, East Georgia State University, Georgia Southern University, Russell Sage College, Albany College, King University, New Jersey City, and goes. These are mergers. And so what we are saying, it's not like it hasn't happened. And so, and the last point I'll say is this here, because I know some people are going to say, well, you know, you're saying that. And let me be real clear, and I'll be very public. Before I launched Roland Martin Unfiltered, I went to every major black media company and said, let's partner. I offered this show first to partner with Urban One. No response. I met with Rich Dennis 3 times at Essence. Nothing. I met with Black Enterprise. Nothing. I met with Blavity. Nothing. So let's be real clear. I understood. I said, yo, you have existing infrastructure. I'm doing something you're not doing. Let's partner. I did not want to partner with a white mainstream company for a reason. Because I didn't want to seek permission to talk about stuff that mattered to us. So that's also the deal. I'm going to need African Americans to put egos aside, to put agendas aside, and to make decisions that are in the best interests of black people. And if you cannot maintain 5 institutions, can we maintain 3? Can we get 2? Can we have 1 strong institution? I have said this for 30 years about black newspapers. I ran the Dallas Weekly. It was the stupidest thing in the world in Dallas, Texas. that did not have the same number of black people as Houston, and we had the Dallas Weekly, the Dallas Post-Tribune, Elite News, Minority Opportunity News, Dallas Examiner, Levita, and there were like a couple of others. I said, y'all having 7 or 8 black papers in Dallas is stupid. It's dumb. When there were 2 dailies in the city, and in 1990 there was one, 1991 there was one, when Dallas Times-Herald shut down. I'll say this again. You often hear white media, mergers and acquisitions. Rarely do you ever hear black companies, black media companies, black law firms, and on and on. You rarely hear mergers and acquisitions, to Randy's point, because too many of us want to call ourselves the CEO. I would rather be an equity owner of a business that's bigger, that has capacity, than be the CEO and got me a cute little card and I'm the only employee. Barbara Scott, and it's just, I'm just being straight up. I never forget.
Hey, Roland, do you remember, and you've been on this campus many times, brother, there's one example of what you're saying in terms of HBCUs that's right in front of our faces. In the fall of 1987, the Atlanta University, which is where Dr. Du Bois made his bones, the campus that is now occupied in part by Morris Brown, made a deal with Clark College, which back to 1869, because there was dwindling enrollment at the Atlanta University, and in order to stabilize themselves, they said, well, come into a closer formation. Within the next year, I think it was April 88, those two merged.
Yep.
How many times, Roland, have you been on the campus of Clark Atlanta University? That is exactly what you were talking about, brother. It's not like it ain't happened before. Come on, man.
That's all I'm saying. Black people, I am tired of black institutions surviving. I want us thriving. But we cannot survive if 5 of us are weak. You can't. It's simply not plausible. So we'll see what happens in Charlotte with the folks at Barber Scotia. Gotta go to break. We come back. I just love when Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley checks somebody, especially when you are a Negro working for Donald Trump. That's next on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Bria Baker, and my good sis, Jameer Burley. We are just 2 millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Succession. We're hearing that word pop up a lot these days as our country continues to fracture and divide. But did you know that idea, essentially a breaking up of the USA, has been part of the public debate since long before and long after the Civil War, right up to today? On our next show, you'll meet Richard Crichton, the author of this book, who says breaking up this great experiment called America might not be such a bad thing. That's on the next Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
I'm Mark Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League, and I'm watching the Black Star Network.
Folks, time for Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble.
Roland, ICE agents in Maine launched what they're calling Operation Catch of the Day. The agency implemented this enforcement in the state to target what they say is the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens who terrorize communities. The Department of Homeland Security says it's targeting 1,400 people in Maine, and dozens have been arrested Maine's Governor Janet Mills called the agent secret police and said there is an order to make an arrest. The death of a Cuban man being held at a Texas immigration detention facility has been ruled a homicide. Authorities say Gerardo Campos died January 3rd following an altercation with guards. ICE officials say he was attempting suicide and the staff there tried to save him. But a witness says otherwise. They say he was handcuffed as at least 5 guards held him down until he could not breathe. His death was one of at least 3 reported in a little more than a month at Camp East, Montana. The autopsy report by the El Paso County Medical Examiner's Office found that his body showed signs of struggle. He also had hemorrhages to his neck. It was determined that he died from suffocation due to neck and torso compression. Well, a jury in Texas has acquitted a former Uvalde school police officer. Adrian Gonzalez faced charges for his response to the Robb Elementary shooting in May of 2022. He was accused of failing to stop the school shooting that killed 19 children and 2 teachers. After more than 7 hours of deliberations, the jury returned a not guilty verdict on all 29 counts of child endangerment. As the verdict was read, Gonzalez lowered his head as he heard it, and he was among the first officers to respond to the mass shooting. It took 77 minutes before police responded to end that rampage. Well, in Virginia, 5 white high school students from Kellam High School have filed a civil lawsuit. This comes after they were suspended over an alleged racist birthday prank. It involved a special education student in March of 2025 when the group of white students gifted the black student a bag filled with racially stereotypical items, including fried chicken, watermelon, and grape Kool-Aid. As a consequence, the students were suspended and prohibited from returning to school for the rest of the year. The families claim in the lawsuit that the incident was a humorous gesture, and the adults are making it a bigger deal. The families are now asking for $10 million. Researchers with the Independent Council on Criminal Justice report a significant drop in violent crime across major U.S. cities. Data from 35 American cities shows a 21% decline in homicides from 2024 to 2025, translating to nearly 1,000 fewer lives lost last year. The report tracked 13 major crime categories and found decreases in 11 of them, including carjackings, shoplifting, and aggravated assaults. Experts say similar declines are being seen in cities and states beyond those surveyed, pointing to a broader national trend in falling crime. Also, Dallas County, Texas commissioners voted unanimously to declare a black teen innocent more than 70 years after his conviction. Tommy Lee Walker was just 19 when he was accused of the 1953 rape and murder of Venice Lorraine Parker near Love Field. But records show he was at Baylor Hospital the night of his birth for his only child. Despite that alibi, Walker was executed in the electric chair in 1956. Officials later revealed the lead homicide detective on the case was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. Walker's son, Ted Smith, was only 2 years old at the time. He told commissioners he spent a lifetime missing a father he never had the chance to know. Roland?
And folks, on Monday, Brittany's new daily news show kicks off right here on the Black Star Network. And so not only, so our show, of course, is 6 to 8 p.m., but you'll be able to see her show every single day, noon to 1. So there's a lot of stuff that happens in the morning, and so we got it covered. And so the breakdown of Brittany Noble kicks off Monday right here on the Black Star Network. So looking forward to that. Let's talk about Minneapolis. Civil rights attorney and longtime activist Nakima Levy Armstrong has been arrested after leading a protest at a Minnesota church. Protesters targeted the church because his pastor also serves as a senior ICE official, calling his dual role a fundamental moral conflict. Following Armstrong's arrest, the White House posted an AI-edited photo of her crying in handcuffs. Let's show the photo, y'all. This is the photo. Let's show the original photo. Let's show hers. So this is the original photo. They changed it with AI. Now switch to the photo to actually show her looking like this. This is a lie. That did not happen. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem shared that original photo. Now, they also, let me do this here. They tried to go to a judge to get an arrest warrant for Don Lemon. The judge would not sign off on it. This is the statement put out by Don Lemon's attorneys. The magistrate's reported actions confirmed the nature of Don's First Amendment protected work this weekend in Minnesota. as a reporter. It was no different than what he has done for more than 30 years, reporting and covering newsworthy events on the ground and engaging in constitutionally protected activity as a journalist. Should the Department of Justice continue with a stunning and troubling effort to silence and punish a journalist for doing his job, Don will call out their latest attack on the rule of law and fight any charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. This is his attorney, Abby Lowell. But also, in addition to it, it wasn't just Nakima who was arrested. They also arrested another activist as well, and they also are targeting other journalists who were involved in this action as well, including Georgia Fort. And so we're checking with her. They also, again, arrested Chantel Louisa Allen. This was the second person that AG Pam Bondi said was arrested. She's charged under a law that prohibits physically obstructing or threatening threats of force to intimidate or interfere with a person seeking to participate in a service at a house of worship. Reese, I'm going to go to you. We see this administration wants to target, they've long wanted to target protesters. They want to target journalists. This is about dictatorship. This is an autocrat. That's all this is. And these people will stop at nothing because they are pure evil.
They are. And let's also point out that this is the same day that Jack Smith, Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, was called into Congress to defend his investigation and charges for the January 6th insurrection that Donald Trump pardoned a bunch of criminals for. Yet at the same time as Republicans justify storming the Capitol, you have the same Department of Justice trying to prosecute interrupting a church service. It's absolutely hypocritical, it's ridiculous, and it is an assault on our citizenship. It is not illegal to protest. It is not illegal to disrupt a church service. And I see more outrage over this than I've seen over church bombings, over the Charleston 9 slaughtering that happened with the white supremacists who got, waltzed into Burger King after he was arrested. And that's why I cannot take it seriously that this is some sort of protection of religion and protection of sacred spaces. This is just another opportunity for Republicans to be abusive towards people, to try to silence the media. And in this case, I think that we are lucky that a judge had better judgment than this Department of Justice for Don Lemon, but there is no guarantee that they will have that same judgment when it comes to Georgia Fort, who is an incredible journalist. They might feel more comfortable showing deference, which we've seen many judges do. For instance, the judge in the LaMonica McIver, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, who was actually a black man who was appointed by Biden, is showing a lot of deference to this Department of Justice maliciously prosecuting a sitting Congresswoman. And so we cannot allow ourselves to be desensitized because there were at least 30 bad things that happened today.
Right. Well,
but every single thing warrants our attention, our outrage, and it warrants a response.
Yeah, and here's the deal. I had a very prominent host of a show tell me, Randy, that, we can't cover everything. And I said, if you got a 24-hour network, you can cover a lot. You don't have to cover just the same 2 stories all day.
Right, and then we'll just replay the same stories all the time, and we need to be aware of what's going on, but I don't think people want us aware. But I tell you who does want us aware. MAGA folks. It reminds me of the public hangings. They used to take our people and hang them publicly because it was done to evoke fear. It was done to say, don't you dare push back against this regime. And that's what they're doing now. They are arresting people during the daylight. They're shutting them down. What they're saying to the world is, or to the country is, if you dare fight back, we are going to punish you. And they're so hypocritical, because you think about this. ICE goes to church services. There are cases where they have arrested people in church parking lots. So all of a sudden, when people want to protest, it's all of a sudden a church is sacred. These devils all of a sudden want to protect when people want to worship, but they don't have any problem with ICE showing up at churches and at schools and at hospitals. I
Yeah.
mean, that's, it's absolutely ridiculous and hypocritical.
That's why you've had Catholic priests standing in the way, Greg.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with everything everyone has said. Your friend, Brother Adam Serwer, has just written a piece in The Atlantic, just dropped. Trump can prosecute anyone now. And I love what he said about one of the two matching race Barbies, the Attorney General. If you mash her up with the Botox Barbie, the ICE Barbie, running ICE, the secret police. And I love what Governor Mills called them, actually, the secret police, as she said. These are not men and women, they're punks because they hide their faces like the cowards they are. Adam, he said he called the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, he called her a mob lawyer, because that's what she is. And he said that, what he said? He said, he blamed, and as we all should be blaming, much of this on that punk ass John Roberts.
Yep.
That Trump versus the United States, which, that nasty piece of work, Russell Vogt, and one damn law professor somewhere at the University of Utah with that whole notion of the expansive reading of Section 2 of the Constitution. This basically the president is a king, which watch, when the Democrats win in 28, watch how quick the Supreme Court figures out another legal apparatus to say that he's not, or she's not, because they're racist, the MAGA six. This ain't got nothing to do with no law. The rule of law is a fiction. Again, the Prime Minister of Canada tried to say it, but he's fighting for his life. But Adam said, we can now see what a grant of immunity has produced. An attorney general who is little more than a mob lawyer, a Justice Department that's little more than a corrupt law firm with one client, and an entire legal system subsumed by the whims of a president who can spare his friends and persecute his enemies. That addled, racist, bubblehead, Pee-wee German, Stephen Miller has his race fantasy all before him. They're going to keep doing this until we stop them.
Yep.
Peaceful protest, absolutely. Ballot box, absolutely. But what they are hoping is going to happen is they're going to run up on the right one, somebody going to blow somebody's brains out, and they're going to let the whole armed forces descend on that site and everywhere else. But here's the problem with that, everyone. You're going to find out how many people in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force, your mama force, the secret police, the Gestapo, you're going to find out how many of those people are going to draw the line, because a lot of them people look like us, and half of them crazy, but the other half isn't. This is not going to end the way they think it's going to end. It could get very bloody and very nasty before it's over. But we need to start paying attention, not just to what's going on, but planning for what happens when that next level is reached, because they're going to start a war they can't win.
Reese made a mention of Jack Smith testifying, and that actually took place today. He, of course, was the one who was investigating Donald Trump's attempt to overturn the election. Now, why did he never get charged? Because that punk-ass Merrick Garland waited damn near 2 years to actually do it, because the Biden folks were playing nice. That shows you the sheer stupidity. Jack Smith had the goods, but time ran out because that punk got reelected, because a lot of white progressives and crazy deranged white independents would not vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. And yes, there were some black folks who also crossed the line and went and voted for MAGA, or they simply sat their asses at home. And now we're having to deal with this deranged lunatic who's now sitting in the Oval Office. Here is Jack Smith speaking today.
Our investigation revealed that Donald Trump was not looking for honest answers about whether there was fraud in the election. He was looking for ways to stay in power. And when people told him things that conflicted with him staying in power, he rejected them, or he chose not even to contact people like that who would know if the election was done properly in the state. On the other hand, when individuals would say things that would allow him to stay in power, no matter how fantastical, he would latch onto those. That pattern, over time, we felt was powerful evidence that he, in fact, knew that the fraud claims he was making were false.
You know, who were some of the Republican witnesses who told you that who told President Trump that his claims of election fraud were false? Can you share that with us?
There were a range of witnesses. They ranged from people on his campaign team who had wanted him to win, were employed to help him win the election. They included state officials, state Republican officials, who wanted him to win, voted for him, campaigned for him, asked him and his co-conspirators to provide evidence to support their claims, and invariably they never did. It included officials, advisors, people he worked with in the White House who he relied upon for important decisions and who he trusted in other contexts. We felt we had strong evidence from a variety of sources.
Time of the gentlelady has expired.
Mr. Chairman, with my fellow Californian, you were allowing the witness.
Yeah, it's a good question. Isn't that grounds to let him answer?
I've given him 30 seconds extra, the gentlelady 30 seconds extra. If the gentleman can be concise and finish up here quickly, we will allow him to finish.
Yes, sir. And just conclude saying we felt that constituted powerful evidence of the knowing falsity of his statements in furtherance of the fraud.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to yield back, noting the presence of officers who were severely attacked.
Got nothing to yield back. You're a minute over. The gentleman from Texas.
Protecting our lives on January 6th.
It was shameful to watch these Republicans in that hearing room, because here's Jack Smith testifying in front of several of Trump's co-conspirators, including Jim Jordan. Reese, you there?
Oh, I thought you were going to play a clip. I'm going to be honest. I don't really give a damn about anything that Jack Smith has to say. What I want to see is Democrats, and this is a way that Congress people could be useful. I want to see them building dossiers on Trump officials and these militiamen that have been empowered with this white nationalist agenda, so that they can be fucking prosecuted the second we get Trump's ass out of office. Not 2 years, 3 years down the line, immediately. Right. I want the Project 2028 of prosecuting every single treasonous traitor to this country. All of this power that they have managed to build up for themselves, now it's time for us to use it when we are the cats that got the gun. That's the only thing I'm interested in. I'm not interested in looking back. I'm looking at the get back. Now, I don't know if Democrats are equipped to that. Democrats tend to be little weak ass bitches. They tend to be people who run on, well, let's return back to normalcy. Let's restore all of these things. Fuck restoring the shit that didn't work. Because the shit that y'all was doing is why we have Donald Trump right now. Jack Smith is sitting up there testifying in Congress, as opposed to prosecuting the damn case, because this man has lost at least, or he's been convicted of some of the 80 charges that were up against him. And so what we should be doing right now is taking notes. We should be resisting, of course. We should be trying to stop them, of course. But ultimately, these people that have betrayed our citizenship need to be held to account. And a big reason why you have so many people feeling themselves, the Stephen Miller and all of these people feeling themselves, is because they don't think that Democrats are going to bust a grape when they get back in charge. Maybe they won't get back in charge. Maybe this democracy as we know it is over. Maybe Donald Trump will get a third, fourth, fifth term. I don't know. But we should be preparing for what we're going to do. And I don't want to hear shit from anybody in 2028. So that probably means that I'm going to have to disqualify a lot of Democratic candidates about turning the page. I want to get back. Anything short of that is insufficient.
There was Ivan Raiklan, who is a defender of these J6 terrorists. I didn't want to sit there and didn't want to interrupt Reese. Ivan Raiklan, the defender of the J6 folks, boy, he got into it with former Capitol Police Officer Michael Fanon. Y'all, watch this.
Pretend like we're not going like this. Well, why do you have to lose your cool like that? I've been always professional. I'm not losing my cool. Every single time I communicate with you, I am always professional with you. Well, I'm not. It requires other people to contain your Tourette's syndrome. Okay? I'm not going to get it. Oh, have you're a traitor to this fucking country. Why are you so spasmodic? My spasmodic? Absolutely. Look behind you. Do so. Why should I? I'm communicating with them. Right? Look at your face. Let's have a seat. Let's have a seat. Let's have a seat. Let's have a seat. Trust me, I'm using a lot of. You see how many people are constrained here? Look at me. Total control over my mind, body.
Hey, the committee will be in order. Mr. Chairman, will you?
I mean, they got into it, Randy. You see there, Harry Dunn trying to pull him back. But again, if you're phenomenal and Dunn, I get it, because these assholes tried to kill you that day.
Yes, they tried to kill you. They tried to kill democracy. They did kill and injure many of his colleagues. I mean, he should be angry. I thought it was such a visual.
And he was a Trump supporter.
Oh, right, I know.
Phenomenal. He was a Trump supporter.
I know. But I think it is a visual representation of what's happening in this world right now. Because this really is a white person's civil war, right? I mean, we're all suffering and we're all trying, but they really are. It's going to be white people fighting against white people right now, like what we're oftentimes seeing. So I thought it was because some white people are realizing that they were not a part of the whole white supremacist plan in the first place. Trump and his people in Davos are not thinking about these the average white person. They're not thinking about the police officers, the plumbers, the factory workers. They're not thinking about those
fools keep voting for him like they don't give a damn about y'all.
They keep voting for him because they really buy into the whole white supremacist ideology.
But they also
and they're not a part
think,
of it.
yeah, he's going to help us. No, he's not.
He's not going to. He don't give a shit about you.
So as
the farmers are finding out.
Pull the audio up. As they were walking him out, you hear Democrats. That's Democrats clapping. That ain't Republicans clapping. Because, Greg, the Republicans, those punks won't even put the plaque up. Congress passed a law to honor these same cops. Mike Johnson won't even put the plaque up. Now, the Senate voted, and they passed it to put the plaque up on their side. And now you've got some House members, Tara Sewell is one of them, where they are putting up replicas of the plaque outside of their offices. That goes to show you how deranged, how utterly deranged these Republicans are. They will kiss Trump's ass so much, they won't even put a plaque up honoring Capitol Hill cops who saved their scared asses on January 6th because, it's going to hurt the feelings of our dear leader.
No, that's true. I think, and then some of those people who attacked them are now the punk bitches hiding behind black cloth, putting their hands on 5-year-olds like the real pieces of men they are. But it's interesting how we come full circle from the conversation you had earlier with Ambassador Rice. I agree with you, Reese. This might be the only way that the United States of America can blow on the dying embers of its empire is to put these people on trial. Because again, Carney gave a speech, we're multicultural, we're inviting, we did a whole lot of crimes, we know the international system's a joke, and now we got to create something different and be more honest. The world is listening. China, the Chinese, no, you better listen to Xi Jinping. Talking about we open for business. At Davos, his vice president said, listen, we are not only the factory of the world, we want to be the market of the world. Why don't you bring stuff to us? We want to buy it. Meanwhile, Bozo and his clowns is like, F y'all, we arresting everybody. Reese, you're absolutely right. If a Democrat or anyone else running for office doesn't run on, when we get back in, we're going to put every last one of them in jail. Bondi, we putting in jail. Noam going under the jail. Miller's going in cuffs. We getting Steve Bannon and Donald Trump and John Roberts. Guess what, baby? We're going to expand the court. We're going to match now the number of districts there are in the United States of America, courts of appeal. That's going to be the number for the Supreme Court. If you don't like it, go to hell. And that's what I'm running on. Now, the world would look at that and say, okay, we still don't trust y'all. But you know what? You have at least now shown us as a measure of good faith that you want the United States to come back into the center. Now, that's not going to happen. But if it did happen, they might get a little closer. Because right now, we can quote AC/DC, that rock band, you're on a highway to hell. Because you have shown the world that you don't give a damn. So, I think that might be their only play, Reese. What you said, that might be the only play left for the United States of America as the empire crumbles.
Well, I got to play this here before we go to Randy and her card game. Reese's got one as well, so we want y'all to support both. I got to play this because I saw this the other day. That joke of a HUD secretary. If y'all thought Ben Carson was an idiot running HUD, Scott Turner makes him truly look like a brilliant housing scholar. And he was on Capitol Hill testifying, and Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, let's just say she lit that ass up.
Mr. Secretary, it is unfortunate, unacceptable, and deeply disappointing that it took over a year for you to come before this committee, but you're here now. I don't have a lot of time, and I have a lot of ground to cover, so let's get to it, and please try to answer as succinctly as possible. Since Donald Trump came into office, how many people at HUD, Mr. Secretary, have been fired, laid off, or otherwise left the agency? Just the total number, please.
Ma'am, about 2,400 people took the DRP.
I'm sorry. The total number at HUD who have been fired, laid off, or otherwise left the agency.
Yes, ma'am. 2,400 people voluntarily took the DRP.
That's complete. Okay, you're not answering the question. I'm going to reclaim my time, so I will just tell you.
Okay.
The point is, when you take a hatchet to the infrastructure of our federal government, it is a tremendous disservice, not only to those dedicated, hardworking employees, those patriots who could have gone anywhere with their talents, but they love their country and they wanted to be in service to their country. It is incredibly disruptive to their livelihoods and their lives. It is not efficient, because it is a disservice to the people and the communities that they serve. People like in my district, the Massachusetts 7th, Claire Bergstresser, who was fired from the HUD Region 1 office, which devastated her. But it means that the good work that she was doing is going undone. So these firings, these unlawful firings, greatly reduce HUD's ability to fulfill its mission. So let me just build on that a little bit. On that note, Secretary Turner, for the record, can you tell us what is HUD's mission statement?
To provide access to quality, affordable, safe housing, and to give access to people to achieve the American dream of home ownership, ma'am, is our mission at HUD.
Let me read it word for word. The mission is to create strong, sustainable, inclusive communities and quality, affordable homes for all. That is the mission of the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Now, I don't have any evidence that you actually know the mission statement, because it seems you're actively undermining it. Since taking office, you have failed at sustainability and paying attention to the impact of the climate crisis and extreme temperatures. You have failed at inclusion. Again, this is a mission statement, by gutting the Fair Housing Office that fights against discrimination, and you are failing at addressing the affordability crisis. So if you have even a modicum of understanding of the mission statement, I'm not sure why you are actively undermining it. But I'll go on. Donald Trump said that the affordability crisis is a hoax. As a Secretary of Housing, do you believe there is a housing affordability crisis? Just yes or no in the interest of time.
There is a housing affordability issue in our country, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And the president believes that as well.
No, he said it was a hoax.
The president believes that as well.
Don't push propaganda.
As you see,
Donald Trump said the housing affordability crisis is a hoax, and that proves he is as clueless.
Steps.
He is as clueless about what is happening with the American people.
I wouldn't say
as he is cruel.
He's not.
He is as clueless as he. Let me move on. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. There is an affordability crisis. We're living it every day. The median age for first-time home buyers is 40 years old. We're pricing out young people. And I believe your department is completely unaware of the fact that people in their twilight years who have given so much to this country, we have a gray wave of homelessness that your agency is ignoring of our elders. Now look at your Senate confirmation here. You talked about your football career and how you would often watch the film of your games to see what you're actually doing well. I have seen this film, and you are failing. I feel bad for you. The Republicans put you in this role.
I'm not sure which film you're watching.
Excuse me, you're interrupting.
Sorry.
I'm watching the film in real time, what's happening, as you gut HUD and undermine and fail to meet
We
its
haven't
mission.
gutted HUD.
I didn't ask you a question. I'm offering a statement of fact, in my opinion. You've been put in a position with no qualifications, no experience, and no training, and they are using you. They are using you as the poster child of their anti-DEI crusade, and you are letting them, and it is shameful, and it is painful for me to watch. The Department of Housing and Urban Development is too important to be mismanaged under your leadership or lack thereof.
Gentlewoman's time has expired. Mr. Chairman, for the record, no one's using me. I wanted to be here.
Well, it took your ass a year to get there, Reese. And the bottom line this year, how you gonna say Donald Trump believes in the housing affordability when she's quoting him when he said it's a hoax? His lying ass. But keep in mind, this is the same fool with Trump who pulled back. That was an investigation for 2 years of a racist HOA in Dallas that was discriminating against poor black people, and they pulled that lawsuit. Scott Turner, a former state rep in Texas in nearby Collin County.
Well, his job is whatever Donald Trump say his job is. It don't matter what the law says it is. It doesn't matter what the actual mantra of the organization is. He's just there to carry water for, as Representative Ayanna Pressley said, clueless and cruel Donald Trump and that MAGA agenda. But she just put on a masterclass in how you combat and you control the kinds of information that you are getting from these people who are incompetent and just sit up there and lie. She didn't allow him to sit up there and lay out a bunch of things that aren't true. Then she had to spend 15 minutes fact checking each and everything. She stopped him right at the lie. Interrupt the lie, as you say, Roland. And so I'm glad to see her getting the praise that she needs, or that she deserves rather, and I'm glad to see that she is pushing back on these lies. And the last thing I will say is I think it's very interesting that some of the solutions that Donald Trump's people are talking about, it sounded a whole like Kamala Harris's platform, because I remember my receipt with receipts researching what she planned to do around housing. And a lot of those ideas are in here, particularly as it relates to limiting investors buying it up. Now, Scott Bessen's stupid ass sat up there and said that a small investor is your grandma and your grandpa who own 10 homes. That's what he said. He don't want to shut those small investors out. So this administration is very, very unserious, but they're clearly grasping at straws, trying to rewrite the narrative. But the proof is in the pudding. People can't afford to buy homes, and people can't afford to sell their homes.
It's just is laughable. And this is another black flunky, Greg, of Donald Trump, grossly unqualified. And I don't know what, I could have played some other clips from the show. I really don't know. I just play NFL and they love me.
Brother, every time I see one of them Negroes, him, Wesley Hunt, Byron Donalds, I think about what our sister Lauren Victoria Burke named first Byron Donalds, and by extension, the rest of them, consensual manservants. I respect Representative Pressley for any number of reasons. Of course, her parents were housing activists. She herself going and moving in that tradition from the time she was young to this very moment. But what she said at the end really kind of shifted my energy toward that circus clown. I would normally have very little place in my mind or my heart for a brother like that. But when she said they're using you, and she said, you know, I mean, you're an embarrassment. And then she said, I feel for you, and more or less. And his response, they're not using me. I want to be here. I almost teared up, because we were never slaves. We were human trafficked. We were trafficked. We're human beings, you know, and so we were trafficked. But there are some of us who have been so thoroughly damaged and wounded and traumatized over generations that we actually love our masters. That man is a slave. He has abandoned his humanity for whatever reasons. And when the final receipts are tallied and the sun is down and we finally right ourselves, Scott Turner's name is going to be added to the roll of those who were casualties of this war. And for that, I feel sorry for him and his whole damn bloodline. I'm glad Ayanna Pressley framed it the way she did.
Randy.
Yeah, I really love when she said, you're being used. And then he said, yeah, I want to be here. He wants to be used. He's like that song, you're going to use me up, because he has post-traumatic slave syndrome. He has Stockholm syndrome, where he is loving his oppressor, and he wants whatever they will give to him, regardless of what it does to his very own people. He doesn't care. He doesn't even know what he's supposed to be doing out there, and does not care. He just wants his little crumb from the pie. Can't even say piece of the pie, crumb.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Our Shop Black Star Network segment, I was going to go to the break. We're going right into it. There's so many different Black-owned products on our site, and we're now adding Randy's game, the Truthing Cards. Of course, these cards, it's a card game designed to elevate conversations with family and friends, and they have questions that pertain to Black folks. So, Randy, so first of all, when did this start? When did you first come up with the idea for the Truthing Cards?
Well, you know, I had a DEI background forever, where I was getting and trying to get
some
people
DEI cards?
No, well, I do have one set of them, but no, I'm just saying. But I was just always frustrated because I grew up where we used to sit around, you know, the kitchen table, the dining room table with your family. You had to work hard to be able to get from the kids table to the adult table, because you had to know how to defend your argument.
We ain't had no kids table.
Y'all didn't have a kids table? Well, you know, we didn't have big houses, so we had to have like card tables set up around.
So that's why I wasn't no damn kids table. Shit,
but we were big enough.
There's only room for one damn table.
But I told people, I said, I learned so much about life and just Blackness from being there, because there's a lot of diversity, because Black people are not monolithic, just within our families. You know, you got the rich aunties, the country aunties, you got the people from, I had people from New York, we got people from the South, and we would sit and debate issues. And I learned so much from those times. And I believe it made us united and helped us learn how to, even though we don't always agree, we were at least united in making us better as a people.
Oh, well,
and I thought
we did Scrabble. We did.
No, I know y'all were in there talking. I know y'all in there talking now.
But they're different. So at my grandparents' house, that's where the debates took place.
Yeah.
In our house, it was Scrabble, it was True or Pursuit. So we had learned games.
You had learned games, but y'all were talking.
Yeah, we were talking. We were talking shit as we were sitting there playing.
Definitely talking shit with Spain.
But at my grandfather's house, that was like that's when the heavy stuff took place.
Well, and then at my grandmama's house, we'd watch 60 Minutes back in the day, and then we'd sit and have conversations about it. So I feel like now with the phones, people aren't talking. I don't think our kids know history. I don't think they know different perspectives. And my mission has always been for Black people to unite. And I think communication is the way to do it. So,
okay, so walk us through. So what is
So what had happened was, I first started some cards. I created 100 questions for Black people when they got together to have cards, like to have conversations. 100 questions, but they're for us, only for us.
Like what?
Like, do you think that HBCUs? I know, but do you think HBCUs are still relevant?
Read a card.
Okay.
Give me a card.
Okay.
Give me some cards. Give me some cards.
Do you think the mantra, work twice as hard to get half as much, is true? And should we stop saying it?
All right. When you travel to other countries, did it feel different being Black? They ain't got a passport. They ain't going nowhere. If you haven't traveled to other countries, has your Blackness affected you differently in different parts of America or your town? Do Black people unconsciously associate Blackness with struggle? Do you think things are better or worse for Black children today than they were when you were a child? How? All right, so these are heavy-duty questions.
No, I got some light ones, like who was that real king of soul? Who was the real queen of soul? You know,
Would you recommend attending a HBCU or PWI? Why? Okay, all right. So how do you play this?
You don't play. You just pick up the.
No. When I say play, it's still a card game. You gotta play. So my whole point is it like after a meal, before a meal? When you've done this, how did you introduce the game into the conversation?
You know, when I'm just with my friends, they're like, let's do some truthing. And I call it truthing because I feel like Black people don't get to live and be and speak our truths. I think that we have muzzles on. Well, you do. Don't before you say it, I know that's what you're about to say.
No, that's not what I'm about to say.
But most of us are not like...
I'm about to say, do you have any questions like, if your wife tells you, ask your opinion of how do I look in this outfit, do you give a truth? Do you give a truthful answer? or do you give a safe answer?
The reason why
My ass gonna give a true answer, so I'm just.
we know you are. We know you always speak your truth.
No, take that off.
You're good at truthing.
Yeah, go
You're
ahead.
good at truthing. But I don't think black people, as we live throughout the day, our stress levels are high because we can't speak our truths. So I think it's great to have black spaces where we get to be with one another, share our truths, and have real
Do
conversations.
you feel as if white women are more sexually free? I ain't never been one, so I don't know. Are they more prepared? Are they more prepared to be romantic partners? Yo, that's gonna stir one up, especially if you got a white woman sitting at the table.
I know that one of the ones that I had that caused a lot of issues is, can you be pro-black and not marry a black woman? Like, can you, or a black man? Can you be pro-black and marry outside of your race? That one always, the conversations go long and strong.
So do you have any rules such as do not have these discussions? Do not play the truthing game in the concealed carry state. Do not involve alcohol.
I think alcohol actually helps. I mean, but that's just me. You don't drink. Yeah, I think alcohol is actually nice. We do have about respecting one another and listening to one another. There are some rules of engagement.
Reese, have you played the truthing game before?
I haven't, but I will certainly be getting it. I love a fellow black woman game creator.
Well, and I would love for us to have a
happy to hear
truthing session, Reese. I would love for us to get together and do some truthing. Like, so there's
if Reese is, you get together and Reese doing some truthing, it's gonna be at least 38 MFs.
That's why I love it. That's what it's about. Listen, my friends and I do it all the time.
Reese gonna be cussing every. Reese gonna cuss on every question.
I have no complaints.
Every question.
I have no complaints.
Look, my dad barely cusses, and he gonna sit here at the start of the show. He was like, Reese.
No, I would love it. Right now, there's a.
Matter of fact, I'm shocked. I don't think Reese said 1 MF on today's show. A record has been. I don't recall one. I'm gonna have to go back to the playback.
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm just sorry. All right.
I can't say one way or the other.
Any fights ever broke out over the truthing?
I have had some passionate conversations.
Okay, all right.
I've had the show is actually there was a truthing show that's actually still on Amazon Prime where we taped 4 professional ones, and the one that I thought was going to be a real fight because I had old school rappers and younger rappers on there. Like I had Eric Sermon, but I had some younger rappers. We talked about should we stop using the N-word. So I thought for sure there was going to be this battle, right? But they actually all agreed. The old school rappers were saying, yeah, it needs to stop, right? So I thought it was a bonding moment. I thought there was going to be fights.
Damn, the chat said, yeah, Reese said MF right off the top of the show. That's probably why I will come
Y'all tracking her MFs?
I got to check. Questions from Reese and Greg for Randy about her truthing game.
Well, I see. So you have multiple editions.
Oh,
right?
yeah. So this one did so well.
Okay, first of all, are they like separate top?
They're separate.
So what is that?
This was the first edition. It's called the Black Edition. It was the first card set to come out. It did so well that I created the second edition, completely new questions, completely 100 new, actually 103 questions that came out.
What is that one called? That's the Black Edition?
The Black Edition, the Black Edition 2.
Okay, all right.
And then the third one, this is where the DEI came in. This is for everybody to question their biases, their.
When you say everybody, that means if you got white friends at your party, use that.
If you got whoever.
Gotcha.
It's the U.S. edition. It replaces DEI. It's the corporate version.
So the first two, if you got black folk at your table.
Yes.
But the other one, if you got mixed company.
Exactly.
See, you talk about everybody. Go ahead and say it. Greg, what you got?
Hey man, I'm just looking at this. I'm definitely gonna get all 3 editions. I think it's brilliant, Randy, that you I guess it's not really a game, it's a conversation. I'm wondering, I mean, I love it because, with Am I Tripping? And by the way, recently I was at the National Museum in Wilberforce last summer and summer before last, and they pulled out the Am I Tripping card. So, the same kind of energy, sparking conversation, being in conversation. I think it's brilliant, both sets of cards.
Yep.
In this particular set, though, in the truthing cards, have you found any intergenerational kind of stuff? Do elders have different answers than younger
Ah,
people? And then,
Yeah, that is actually, to me, the best part of it, is when you see grandmama answering something completely different, and then you're shocked by what the 15-year-old is saying, and then, you know, the ones that are in their 30s. I really think that it helps. I love it for, like, holidays, because I really think it helps for families to bond, and we don't talk to our elders like we used to talk to our elders. And particularly now, when we're realizing how much sometimes our children don't know the history, because we do talk about things. I think they need to hear, like, this is what I lived through. You know, they just see grandmama, they don't know. Grandmama just
I
makes
got
it good,
some
whatever.
questions to add.
Oh, Lord. I'm sure. I'm sure. The force that's coming out.
I got some questions to
yeah,
add.
I'll take your free advice.
My first question is, do you hate when black people talk during a movie?
I actually think that's not in there. There is a question that says, is there something you hate that black people do in public that you wish we would stop now?
I'm talking about specific.
Like wear do-rags or...
No, like talking, and I ain't talking about just a movie at the movie theater. I'm talking about like a movie at the crib.
You don't like it to be interactive.
Mama, my sisters, Jackie. Oh, I cannot.
Some of us see it as an interactive experience.
No, I can't stand that shit. And then you're sitting here, what they say. You would have known what they said if you wasn't talking.
That's why you got the rewind button.
No, hell no. I'm not watching a movie going backwards and forwards, backwards and forward. I sit here, I would tell them point blank, I'd be like, shut up. I bought, one of them big old industrial flashlights?
Yes.
I remember when Barbershop came out, man, we watched as a family, and if your ass start talking, I hit your ass with the light. And there was just like this huge spot. Yes, I did. I was like, bam! Stop talking.
I'm sure you did.
My deal, when you, listen, talking during the movie is an art form. Learn to say something quick when there's no dialogue on the screen. Yo, I'm telling you right now.
Sometimes we gotta have a conversation about who may have done it.
No,
I watched His and Hers this past weekend. No, I watched His and Hers this past weekend.
I don't need to hear you.
And we need to talk about who did it.
Who the killer is.
Yeah, we gotta figure it out.
Sit your ass there and watch the movie
like
everybody else. We'll get it there together.
I disagree with you.
Man, I walked the hell out the room.
I disagree with you. And
I walked the hell out the room.
And that's what truth is all about. A lot of the questions are silly like that.
Listen. That's why.
Can we play a card that's actually in Randy's deck?
No, that was actually, we have something that says that. Wasn't that bad?
Mama said, shut up. I'm talking during the show. See?
I know.
Leave your mama
Come on,
alone.
All right, give us a card. Let's see. It don't even matter. They know. Everybody know. Don't talk during the movie.
Everybody know.
Let me get a light.
That's why at my house, I got 7 TVs. Y'all have your own shit. I'm going to another room. All right, come on, throw a question out. I do. Everybody got their own TV.
Okay, let's do a very, very light one. What black TV show do you wish would come back?
What black
TV show, of all of them
Reese,
that have been killed,
first.
which one would you like to see come back?
I can't go first. That's
fine. Greg, go first.
I go first. That's easy for me. It only did one season. Your frat brother, Tim Reed, Frank's Place.
Oh, that was a good show.
That's easy for me, man. I'm like, man, y'all messed up when y'all took that off, boy. That was genius.
Rock was good too.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
Reese, did you come up with one?
Okay. I would like to see, I'll pick a more contemporary show. I would like to see Queen Sugar come back. That's what I would like to see.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to see Living Single come back. I love that show. I still watch it in the mornings. It comes on, and I'll watch it when I'm getting ready in the mornings. I love me some Living Single.
All right, Living. All right, that was okay. All right, Living Single.
Roland, what's your show?
What's your show?
I'm trying to find.
You can't be Googling shows.
No. I'm not Googling black TV shows. That was a show on CBS. Bill Duke was the lead character. It was something USA.
I didn't see that.
And it was a very good show. It was a very good show. I'll find the name of it but I like that. So there a lot of different shows that.
Because you know they cancel our shows fast, no matter what the ratings are or how good they are.
Of course.
And we miss those shows. So yeah, there's some light ones in there like that.
Come on, give us another one.
Okay, I have this question for you, Roland. We started to talk about it before. Do sororities, fraternities, all the organizations from
What'd you say, Carol?
Links, all of them, do they?
Yeah, Palmerstown, USA. I told you it was
Palmerstown,
something
USA. Okay.
I know what it was. Go ahead.
Do those organizations strengthen us and bring us closer, or do they actually create fractions within the black race?
They do both.
People?
They do both. All depends on what your perspective is.
Well, that's why we're trying to hear perspectives.
Right. No. They do both. But there are things that D9 does that are fantastic and critically needed. But there's also some bullshit, and we can do more.
And not just D9, but all of the organizations, do they bring us together or tear us apart? I always find that one interesting because it definitely shows just different people's experiences. What do you think? Greg Carr, Dr. Carr,
I agree.
Reese.
I agree with Roland. I mean, I'm glad I pledged. Nobody in my family was a member of that organization. I joined because of the ancestors I saw in there. Thurgood Marshall and, Martin Luther King, Du Bois, Paul Robeson. But the other side of it, I think it's inevitable. I think what happened in our community was prior to the end of apartheid in this country, what we had was class was forestalled. Those class cleavages were forestalled. So there was an easier way to aspire to be in our community, and those organizations kind of fed back into that. The minute desegregation hit, I think they have become more divisive. Absolutely. I hate to say it, and Reese, my heart bleeds every time I think about it, sis, because I know how hard you worked. We all did, but you really worked to get Kamala Harris elected president of the United States. But I know that class cleavage, black folk who never went to college, damn AKAs and these pearls and that. I'm like, no, don't do that. But they couldn't get, I think that class issue just gets, I agree with Roland. It's both, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's a good point. I'm a GDI, okay? People mistake me for being in the sorority all the time, and I correct them because I don't want anybody ever saying that Reese was claiming to be somebody's soror when I wasn't. I personally really, really appreciate that we have the D9 links and all of the other organizations. I do think, though, that sometimes people in those organizations have blind spots when it comes to the experiences of people who are not in those organizations. And I think that is where some of the disconnect happens. Like, for instance, when I would talk about, and you brought up the election, Dr. Carr, when I would talk about how I felt like Kamala Harris needed to say she was Black because of the misinformation that was targeted. A majority of the misinformation about Kamala was that she wasn't really Black. So I was saying, you got to explicitly state that to combat that. And most often, people in sororities and fraternities will say, well, she's an AKA. And I tried to explain to people that doesn't mean anything to a lot of Black people because they have no exposure, no experience with that. And so I absolutely think that these organizations are amazing. I think they're critical. And I don't think that they are innately divisive. But I do think that there is some degree of a class divide there. And I do think that sometimes that sends you on a chart and on a path where you might be a little bit more removed from the GDI experience.
All right. Yeah, good conversation. So we did some truth.
So there you go.
So that's it.
So
yes, that's it.
It's called the Truth in Game. You can get the cards by going to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com. You can get the different games, Black version 1, Black version 2, and then you can get the vanilla version. You got that one. You got that one right there. The mocha version. That's right. The black coffee with cream version. So you can actually get that. Go to please. That is that's the mulatto version of the game. All right. Y'all go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Y'all can support all those Black-owned products you see on shopblackstarnetwork.com. When you support them, you support this show as well, so it's important. Y'all, that's it. Listen, tomorrow we're going to talk about this big snowstorm hitting huge parts of the country. So look forward to that. Some other stuff that I was going to get to, I couldn't get to because, man, we had so much to talk about. We have run out of time. Hell, we went 30 minutes over. And I appreciate the panel staying with me. So let me thank Randy for being with us. Let me thank Reese for being with us. Reese, 1MF on today's show, Colbert. Shocking. And it just want like, my God, somebody said, is Reese sick? and all of the chat, they said, man, Greg been on one all show.
Oh.
They like, damn. They like,
no.
Damn.
It's over. They can't say it on TikTok no more because the Chinese done sold it to Larry Ellison. Are they gonna leave TikTok, Roland?
Right wing.
Are they gonna leave it?
Black folk need to take your ass from TikTok to fan base. Stop making these folk rich because you always complain about how your stuff gets stolen anyway. So go to fan base. Y'all want to support the. Speaking of fan base, pull it up since we're talking about it. Download the app. They got less than $100,000 to raise to reach their $17 million goal. To get more information, go to startengine.com/fanbase. That's right. They've raised $16.9 million. Very close to actually finishing raising that $17 million. And of course, lots of things that they have planned to actually do it. And so things have been going well. And so, make that thing happen. So startengine.com/fanbase. Support our work. Join our Bring the Fuck fan club. You want to give me a cash app, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here on the screen. That's for credit cards as well. You can also, of course, check some money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 7-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Do me a favor, y'all. Look, when you clip stuff from this show, add the YouTube link, because y'all need to understand that's where we make our money from. But also pass the word. Share with folks when you see this show, clips on this show. Because, it's amazing to me. A lot of black folks, they post stuff, Abby Phillips Show, they post stuff from MSNBC, they post all kind of stuff. And I'm like, we covered that too. And we talked about it from our perspective. So that's always critically important. Download the app. Of course, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung Smart TV. And don't forget, get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag. You can get our hats, T-shirts, all of our merchandise right here at shopblackstarnetwork.com. That's it. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Keeping it real, keeping it black, and keeping it unfiltered. Holla!